So finding a comfortable position to rest into to start your practice, coming onto the back and feeling free to position your legs in a way that feels comfortable for your hips, for your lower back. So knees can stay bent, or have a pillow under the legs, or just simply stretch them out onto the floor. And do the same with the head and the neck. So noticing as you rest back the position of your head. And if your chin is quite a bit higher than your forehead, you might prop your head up on a little bit of a pillow, or just simply try to draw the chin a little more towards the chest, letting the chin rest a little lower than the forehead, and that will bring more length into the back of your neck. And you can feel the back of your head where it meets the ground, and try to let go of its full weight. So as you free the weight of your head, you'll feel a little more freedom and length into your neck. And do the same with your shoulders, feeling them settle closer to the ground, resting out through the elbows and into the hands. We carry a lot of tension in our hands throughout the day and even in our sleep. So noticing that for yourself, catching it, and letting it go again. Allowing the fingers to curl naturally, letting the palms feel relaxed. And start to feel the whole back of your body, noticing the points of contact that your body makes here with the floor, with the support underneath you. And as you give over your whole body's weight into the support of the ground, you'll start to feel the spaces inside your body begin to unfold, gradually releasing any tension you're holding on to, especially around your belly, your chest, and even into the neck, the throat, and into the jaw, softening your face, allowing the eyes to feel heavier as they sink deeper into their sockets. Inviting your whole body to rest while you start to wake up to the sensations here within your body. Feel the sensations of the breath moving in and flowing out. Aware of the inhale as it moves in through the body. And aware of the exhale as the breath leaves your body. And can you let go of any sense of control over your breath? And allow the breath to just settle into its own steady pace here. Can you follow the full depth of your inhale and feel your lungs expand, your belly lift? And stay present with the length of the exhale. Feel the breath moving out slowly and gradually, letting the breath taper away, fading out. So be present, riding the waves of each breath, flowing in, and flowing out, following its path of movement within your body as it comes and as it goes. All the while continuing to scan your whole body for tension that might come back into your jaw or your shoulders or your fingers, and inviting more softness in. And now little by little start to let your breath deepen and bring a bit of movement into your fingers and your toes, opening and closing the hands, spreading and curling through the toes. That's it. And then start to find a little more movement through the wrists and the ankles. And then let's go for a full body stretch. We can reach the legs long and stretch the arms back. And just feel your whole body long in each direction, wiggling and wriggling as you like, just to get into any areas of the body that feel like they need a good stretch here. Stretching through one side at a time, maybe lengthening through the right arm and the right leg, and then the left arm and the left leg. And then coming to rest in the center, you can either have the knees bent or legs stretched out, whatever feels good for you right now. And so let's start with the arms stretching back and see if you can let them hover just slightly off the ground. So you're trying your best to keep the arms as close to the floor as your shoulders are comfortable, okay? And then slowly bring your arms wide and down towards your hips. That's it. Kind of like angel, snow angel wings, reaching the arms wide and stretching them back again. So moving like this as you breathe. And try to keep the neck pretty still. So your head stays heavy, your chin stays heavy. That's it. Your throat stays relaxed and open, back of the neck long, while you're feeling these movements in your shoulders primarily. That's it. Maybe a little bit of movement through the hands as well, the wrists. Good. Noticing each breath as you move. Nice. And then let's pause with both arms out wide to the sides. So imagine you're holding on to a big, huge beach ball. And so find a little bit of a curve in the arms just to soften a little there through the elbows a little bit. And feel this width across the chest. Yeah, let the weight of your ribs stay heavy so you're not arching too much into the lower back. That's it. And just notice the depth of your inhale. And as you exhale, maybe can you bring your arms any wider, any bigger? That's it. Good. And then let's slowly bring the arms up overhead, or over the chest, I mean. And as you're here, just let the elbows stay nice and heavy, or sorry, the shoulders stay nice and heavy towards the floor while the fingertips reach towards the sky. That's it. And then we're going to lift one shoulder at a time. So reach the right arm towards the ceiling so that shoulder blade starts to lift away from the floor, and then rest that shoulder blade back down to the floor. Left arm reaches up, shoulder blade lifts, and then rest it back into the floor, and just Try that a couple more times on each side. And only lift the arm and the shoulder blade up as far as it can go before you notice tension coming into your neck, before you're noticing, any sense of grip or pull in the neck there. Just let the head stay heavy. That's it. Next time, let's bring both arms up. So feel both shoulder blades spreading apart from one another, from the spine as they lift, and then rest again. Shoulders down, collarbones will widen. So as the arms reach forward up towards the sky, feel the shoulder blades lift and then resting them down into the floor again. One last time, reach the arms forward. Now let's keep the shoulder blades sort of spreading away from each other as we cross the arms in front and find a hug. So wrap the hands around to wherever they comfortably reach. They may or may not reach all the way around to the shoulder blades, and that's quite all right. Let them land where they do, and feel free to massage a little with your fingertips into any tight and tender spots you might happen to come across here. See if you can wiggle your shoulder blades just a little further down away from your ears. That's it. Let the neck stay long, the front of the throat stay open. And we'll try to let the elbows stay hooked together as we maybe bring one hand to the forehead, the other hand can stay on the opposite shoulder. Elbows stay hooked together, or you can also bring both hands to rest on the forehead if that feels comfortable. The idea is to notice whether the shoulder blade is lifting higher again towards the ear. Try to move it away from the ear. That's it. Feel the neck's length for another full breath. Nice and deep into the lower lungs, into the belly. Good. Now make note of which arm you have on top, maybe which arm is closer to your face. Making a mental note of that. Let's open up the arms wide again out to the sides. While we've got the arms out wide, letting them hover here, let's start to find a little movement through the wrists and the hands. So you can go in circles with your wrists here, maybe first with fists closed, going in both directions. That's it. And then maybe finding movement with the palms open, maybe even a little bit of motion there through the fingers. You can go in half circles or figure eights, anything you like. Just noticing what it is you are doing. That's it. Just getting into the wrists, forearms, hands, and fingers. All right, and then once again, lift both arms over the chest, reaching them towards the ceiling. Feel both shoulder blades lift away from one another, away from the ground, and then wrap the opposite arm on top into that hug and just pause into your hug. So feel now your shoulders settle towards the ground and away from the ears. That's it. And feel your elbows rest away from your head, your face, as you massage with your fingertips. Wherever they happen to reach, you're going to come across some tight and tender spots to pay attention to. Massage into. Oh yeah. All right. And then from there we can rest. Maybe just one hand on the head. It'll be the hand that's closest to the face. Maybe both hands can rest towards each other on the forehead. Do what feels good for you on this side. And then just settle into each breath. As you exhale, can you find a little more length through the neck, moving the shoulder blades away from the ears. Good. Let's go ahead and release the arms. Give them a little shake in the air. Just loosen up there through the whole arm. Hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders. All right, and then let the arms go, noticing how they feel. Okay, let's go ahead and bend both knees. And we'll take the knees in and hug and rock. So feel free to have the knees together or apart, whatever you like, as you find a little bit of movement here, rocking side to side. So you're shifting the weight over from one side of the hip to the other, feeling a massage across that space. That rolling point of contact, massaging into any tight and tender spots. You can change where the massage is by bringing your knees closer towards your chest or further away from your chest, and just feeling how that changes where the weight is across your back. Nice. All right, and then come back to center. Okay, let's roll all the way over onto this left side. So we're gonna rest here with the knees stacked, the hips together, one over the other. And this is where you might want a pillow or something under your head while you're on your side. So get nice and heavy through your head, letting it rest into the support under it. And as we keep the legs and the hips pretty still, let's find some circles through this right arm. Stretching it back, that's it, beyond your head. Let's pause right here for a moment so that we can reach this arm back. Imagine that it's reaching beyond the head towards the back of your mat. That's it. And then we can find this top leg, stretching long and resting it, maybe even resting the foot on the floor, and feel some length come into this whole right side. Now can you stay relaxed in the neck? If your right shoulder is really hunching towards the ear, see if you can release some tension there in that side of the neck for one more breath here. Feeling it into the right side. Really nice. And then let's bend the knee again. So now we're going to keep the hips stacked, knees stacked, as we turn the upper back, opening into the twist to the right, letting the arms swing out and down towards the hips, circling back onto that left side again. So let's take our time in this movement, continuing to draw this circle around the body, letting the right arm come as close to the ground as it can stay where it's comfortable in your shoulder. Okay? That's it. At any time within this circle, you can let yourself pause and just explore the sensation where you're feeling a good stretch. And if you try to let your head stay nice and heavy and relaxed, you'll notice that it will just naturally turn and follow the rest of your spine into the twist. Okay, so the next time we do it, let's pause and we'll land and stay into this twist. So feel your shoulders, they might want to move a little towards your left. So both the upper back and shoulders can come to the left in order to bring this right shoulder closer to the ground. And you can bring your head back to the floor if you don't feel like you need the pillow anymore. So feel the head, and if you let it stay relaxed and heavy, it will naturally turn as your upper back has turned to the right. Your head might turn slightly in that direction as well. And the idea is to just allow the weight of the head to rest as far in that direction as it does naturally go. You're not pushing it to the right. That's it. You're just letting it soften. And if you let go of the weight of your head slightly to the right here, it will actually help bring more weight down into that right shoulder, bringing it a little closer to the ground. Not by force, just by letting go. Letting go of any excess tension again through the hand, through that right elbow. Feel the weight of the arm rest into the floor. And as you try to continue to feel the support of the ground, notice the nature of your breath here. Where does it move? Follow the depth of your inhale. Stay with the length of the exhale. Good, and then slowly bring your head back to center first and bring your knees back to center, rolling onto your back, and just take a moment. You can rest your feet on the floor again and just wiggle around and get comfortable in the center, noticing how you feel. Okay, and then let's bring both knees back in, and we'll roll this time over onto the right side. Feel free to use the blanket in the meantime while we're on our side. So stacking the hips and the shoulders, let's just start out by letting the head feel relaxed on the pillow, stretching this left arm overhead as much as this shoulder lets it come. So it doesn't matter if it's down at the ground or hovering higher above the ear. Just feel some length. Feel as though you're reaching this arm back towards the back of your mat, not just from the shoulder, but from your hip. That's it. Feel like the arm reaches from that top hip. And then lengthen the top leg. That left one stretches from the hip down through the heel. That's it. Maybe your big toe lands on the ground and you'll feel some length come into this left side. So let the breath move there. Really nice. And then go ahead and bend that top knee again, resting it on the bottom knee, and start to find the circular movement, turning now the upper back to the left as the arm swings out to the left and down, circling towards the hip to come back onto that right side. Take your time in this movement. Try to let your head feel relaxed and heavy still on the pillow. And as your upper back turns, your head will naturally follow it. That's it. Pausing at any time within that circle where you're feeling, ooh, that's a good stretch, through the armpit or chest areas where we can get into a good stretch here. Nice. And then when you feel ready to land into the twist on this side, let's find the upper back as close to the ground as it can come. So we may need to shift the shoulders a little to the right. Maybe you can take the pillow away more comfortably, resting the back of the head on the ground and letting now this left arm relax out. So you might need to bend the elbow, lower the arm a little bit, repositioning it in a way that you can find the support of the floor. And I like to rest the right hand on that top thigh, just resting it as a gentle reminder for those knees to come towards the floor. And then again, notice where the head is. And as you relax the head a little to the left, just letting it turn as naturally as it does, allowing the full weight of your head to settle. You'll allow more weight. You'll invite more weight to come down into this left side. Shoulder, chest even, moving as you breathe. Follow the depth of the inhale. Feel how your body responds to the exhale. That's it. Softening to the movements of your breath. for one more cycle. And then as you breathe in, let's bring the head back to center. Bring your knees back, rolling onto your back again. All right. So let's keep the knees bent and bring the feet under the knees, planting your feet in a way where you find that the support through the big toe mounds, baby toe mounds, and heels. So it's quite helpful to find some movement first through the ankles, just keeping the hips down as you lift your heels and then lift and spread your toes. That's it. And maybe even resting into your feet and rolling out onto the outer edges. That's it. And then rolling in to the inner edges. And so see if you can find this movement, minimizing the movement of your knees in and out. So less movement is in the hips, and you're finding the movement more initiated from your ankles. It can be quite tricky. That's it. You might not have much movement from the ankles, and that's okay. You're just trying to find it with less movement in the hips, meaning knees don't move as much. Okay, and then see if you can feel the weight even from inner to outer edge of the feet and from toes to heels. All right, planting into the feet here. Let's rest the arms down beside us. So you might lift and slide your shoulder blades further down so you get some greater width across your upper back, making more contact with the floor through the upper back, through the back shoulders, palms into the mat. Let's slowly peel the spine up, lifting the tailbone first. That's it. Keep the lift of your tailbone reaching towards your knees, but at the same time, notice what's going on with your neck. Can you feel spacious through the front of your throat? So you might actually have to lift the chin just very slightly. That's it. And feel more space in the front of your neck while maintaining length and softness in the back of your neck. Can you feel like your head reaches to the back of your mat as your tailbone reaches towards your knees? And feel all that space along the length of your spine and into the front of the body, the belly, the chest, the front hips, noticing where your breath moves here. Feel the inhale. Stay with the exhale. That's it. Each exhale can be a reminder to find more length in the neck, maintaining all that space through all sides of your neck. Really good. Now let's start to roll the spine down from the top through one vertebra at a time. So try to roll your spine down, really trying to bring your back ribs to the floor first before your back waist. See if you can find that a little bit more support through the belly to feel that. Yeah, it's a little tricky. And then once you've landed, just take a breath here. All right, let's bring both arms out to the sides. So out like a T shape. Walk your feet wider apart. Okay, so about mat width apart your feet are. Your knees are still bent. Feet are just maybe slightly off the mat or thereabouts. So find your inhale in the center. And as you exhale, let's let the knees go to the left and let the head just roll to the right. That's it. And then let the inhale bring you back up to center. Exhaling as your knees slowly move to the right, head to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale in the other direction. That's it. Just follow your own pace. Feeling free to speed it up or slow it down, but really trying to feel how this gives some mobility into your hips, your spine, your neck. You can feel the weight shifting from one hip towards the other, from behind one ear to the other as your head rolls nice and heavy, side to side. Let's do one more in each direction. Once your knees have gone to the right for the last time, we can bring back everything to center. All right, great. Let's hug both knees in here, rock a little, find any movement you like, even circling the knees in each direction a few times. And then let's come on over onto our side. We can make a pillow with our bottom arm. Just rest there for a breath or two. Okay, and then let's come up into a seated position. So this is where blocks or big pillows might come in handy. So I'm going to suggest trying to sit on a little bit of height. So I really like this position. It may not be good on your knees or your feet or ankles, so you can choose to sit in a cross-legged position if you prefer, up on support. So you can take even 2 blocks between your feet if you want to try this, and sit onto the blocks so that your hips are quite elevated. And what this does is it brings your spine into more of a neutral spine much more easily, where you're able to actually feel quite tall and easily supported. If you don't need 2 blocks, you can just have the 1, but you're gonna be here for a little bit of time. So if you're feeling on just 1 block, lots of tension and stretch through your feet, ankles, knees, thighs, I suggest coming up on something higher. You can even just turn that 1 block on its side, okay? Or sitting cross-legged, up on support so that you're able to actually feel some length through your spine, some support up the spine. Okay, so wherever you happen to be, however you're sitting, you're finding both sitting bones, evenly resting as best you can. So maybe even just, sort of rocking your weight from one to the other, feeling them both settle. And then we're going to find a bit of movement through the neck today. So really simple. We're just going to move the neck, not so much work on stretching the neck. Sometimes I find that when we actively sort of, pull on the neck to stretch it, there can be a little bit of too much overstretching. So let's just mobilize the neck a little more this morning and get a sense of how the neck moves and where it is positioned. So let's start out by finding this movement, which is actually quite tricky, okay? So many of us, when we're going out throughout our day, our head is forward of our shoulders. So our chin is sort of jutted forward, and it's also sort of down usually, right? Because we're looking at our device in front or something like that. Or if we're driving, our head is sort of forward and our chin is jutted forward like this. So let's get this movement of the neck so that we can start to keep the chin parallel to the floor and move the whole head forward and the whole head back. Forward and back. Sometimes it's helpful to bring your hand in front of your face and try to bring your nose to touch your hand and then your nose to move away from your hand, okay? So you're not lifting and lowering like this. It's a moving forward of the face and then it's a pulling back of the face, sort of giving yourself a bit of a double chin, right? So forward and back. So what we're doing is we're gliding the base of the skull forward on the top of the spine and back a little bit. And you may notice that going forward is easier than going back. All right. But see if you can find where you're bringing your head back just a little bit more than maybe you usually do. And so that you can find maybe your ears are now more above your shoulders rather than forward of your shoulders, okay? So trying to bring your head back. So this way, you're actually going to find more length, more space into the back of the neck, the base of the skull. That's it. And you're going to bring your head to be balanced over the rest of your spine. Just notice how that feels. Once you've found that, try to maintain that as we start to move the head. So let's start out with rotation, turning your head to the right. Try not to bring the chin higher or lower, just twisting, and then back through center and over to the left. And as you do that a couple more times, just take your time. Notice if the rest of your spine is moving at all. So notice if your shoulders are getting involved, if your chest is turning, if your ribs are turning, and try to find the movement just from the neck up. Yes. All right. Feel your breath. Good. Good. And then coming back to center. So that's rotation, twisting of the head. Let's now find lateral flexion, so side bend. To the right, right ear comes towards right shoulder, noticing that you're not bringing your shoulder towards the ear. And then up through center again and over to the left. So noticing how much movement you have in each direction. It could be a little different in each direction. For me, it certainly is. One side of the neck might feel a little tighter than the other, limiting the range you have in the other direction. Yeah. And so again, try not to move through your waist, so you're not letting the rest of your spine move, and you're trying to keep your shoulders level while just the neck and the head move. Yeah. And you're trying to keep your ears over your shoulders, so bringing your face back a little bit. Good. All right, and then coming back up through center. Then let's find flexion and extension, forward bending and back bending through the neck. So being cautious, especially when we lift the head and bring it back. So try to first lower your chin towards your chest. And again, notice that you're not rounding the rest of your back at all. Shoulders are going to stay back. Back is going to stay tall while your head goes forward. And then lift your head back to center and try to feel like you're lengthening through the back of your neck as you're lifting your chin and your gaze just to where it's comfortable. So really be cautious with this one. Maybe do a little less than usual, because if this is an unfamiliar movement to you, you just want to go really gentle. And then lower your chin again towards your chest. That's it. Try not to bring your shoulders forward, and then lengthen through the back of your neck. Feel like the base of the skull lifts away from the shoulders as you're lifting your gaze, your chin, your nose. That's it. So take your time in that movement. Go for it a couple more. Just explore it for yourself. Shoulders aren't moving. Upper back and chest isn't moving. Really good. You'll notice maybe some length coming into, some stretch coming into the back of the neck as your chin lowers towards the chest. And then you might also feel some length, some space coming into the front of the throat as your chin lifts. All right, and then come back to center. So 2 more. Let's combine a couple of those together. So we'll do this one first, where we rotate the head to the right. So just finding that rotation first. And then you're going to try to tip your head down, chin towards your collarbone. And then chin lifts away from the collarbone. Doesn't matter how much, go comfortably. Lowering your chin down, keeping your head turned to the right the whole time, and then lifting your chin up. And feel free to pause at any time where you're like, ooh, I'm finding a good stretch there. Maybe you just pause into it. You try to keep your shoulders level. You try to keep the movement out of the rest of your spine, just focusing on the neck. As your chin lifts, you might notice where the stretch changes, more into the front side of the neck. As your chin lowers, the stretch goes into the back side of the neck. All right. And then coming back to center, looking forward. Just noticing where your head sits. If it's moved forward again, try to bring those ears above the shoulders. That's it. Feel like the base of the skull lifts a little bit. Yeah. And then turn your head to the left. Great. So starting with that rotation, keeping the rotation of the head to the left, and then lowering your chin towards that left collarbone a little bit, and then lifting your chin away from that collarbone. And you're always just finding your own comfortable range of motion. Don't be concerned at all with how much movement I have. Find what works for you. That's it. And this side could feel quite different from the other side. So really paying attention to that. Pausing at any time within the movement where you're feeling a good stretch that you want to linger into. Good. Trying not to involve the rest of your spine or your shoulders. Oh, yes. Okay. Really nice. And then coming back to center with the chin, turning the head to center. Last one. We're going to, this one's kind of the trickiest. So take your right ear, just let your head tip to the right in that lateral side bend again. And then we're going to rotate the head. So we're going to turn the chin towards our shoulder or collarbone. Then we're going to turn our chin away from that collarbone. So we're keeping the head tipped to the right the whole time while we find any amount of rotation that feels good for you. Turning your face away from that right shoulder and then turning your face towards that right shoulder. That's it. You're trying not to let your head come forward at all. Good. Just finding that side bend as we rotate through that side bend. And you might feel little cracks and pops and crackles as these joints in the neck maybe, get a bit of an adjustment. All right. And then find center again. Head tall above the shoulders. Last one. Left ear moves towards the left shoulder. You're not trying to push it there. You're just letting the head tip to the left. And then once you found that tip to the left, let's maintain it and turn your head towards your shoulder and then away from your shoulder. And yeah, this side feels very different for me. I don't have quite as much comfortable movement, so listening to that and responding to those sensations you encounter, not letting yourself push or force your way through any movement here. Just finding your own comfortable range in each direction. And again, pause at any time if you're like, this feels good. I want to stay there. Really nice. Just a couple more. Just finding that mobilization. Gentle rotations while the head is tipped. Just to get into different muscles through the neck, different joints. So many ways we can move the neck, but we don't. We really just hold our heads kind of forward. We might do a little twisting. And that's about it. Okay. And then find your head back to center. All right, and then just loosen things up a little bit. Maybe we'll roll the shoulders. Yeah, let's do that. So let's find the movement in the shoulders, not the head, not the neck. So moving your shoulders kind of forward and up, back and down, rolling the shoulders. And these can be any amount of movement that feels good. Sometimes I kind of like to back away from my full range of motion, and that feels better. So just experiment for yourself. That's it. All right. And then let's come off the block and come on to hands and knees. And if you were sitting back on the block between the feet might need a little bit of life thrown back into them. It's nice to kind of tap the tops of the feet on the floor. Maybe curl those toes under for a moment and stretch the feet the opposite way, getting some stretch through the soles of the feet here for another moment. Another breath. All right. And then let's explore moving the spine through cat and cow. So as we hug up and in through the belly, let's round through the back. And as we push through the hands, that space comes between the shoulder blades again, and the head can just fall forward. You're not pushing it anywhere, you're just letting it go. And then start to lift the tailbone high, lengthening through the neck as your chest lifts and your chin lifts. So the back of the neck stays long. And so this is the flexion and extension movement through the neck, but we're bringing it through the whole spine and feeling how your whole spine now is supporting and facilitating this movement through your neck. As your chest widens to the front, your neck and your head can lift maybe a little higher. And as your upper back rounds, your head can fall further forward. One more time. All right, and then let's curl the toes under, send the hips up and back, and find downward dog. So here, as you're pressing forward and down through the palms, try to now, once again, find little turns of the head. You know, that rotation of the head, turning it in one direction then the other. You're doing really quite slow nods of the head, no. That's it. And then bringing your head back to center and maybe finding little tiny nods of the head, yes. And then allowing here the full weight of your head to just feel long through both sides of the neck as your hips reach in the opposite direction, up and back. That's it. Notice another breath right here in your downward dog. Good, and then let's lift up onto the toes. We're going to bend the knees and step forward, walking all the weight into the legs here and letting the upper body dangle freely. So try to allow for the weight of the head again to get quite heavy. And again, you're not pushing your head anywhere in particular. You're just trying to let the weight of it rest with gravity away from the shoulders. That's it. Let the arms dangle and feel the support in the legs from the feet up. And maybe with each exhale, you can let go of the weight of the head a little more. Feel like the crown of your head moves closer towards the ground. You're not pushing it there, you're just letting it release. Now, as we keep the head heavy, as we keep the arms loose, let's find the support more through the feet. Push down through the feet, hug up and in through the belly. We're going to roll it up quite slowly, one vertebra at a time from the bottom of the spine, stacking through to the top until your head floats up last. So we're in mountain pose. Let's find our feet under the hips, head above the shoulders. And just like when we were sitting, can we find where the head can be not forward of the shoulders, but right above the shoulders. And as you do that, maybe let's actively do that movement and just notice when you bring your head forward, how your chest kind of sinks down, you know, how your posture changes. And when you bring your whole head back, so the ears are balanced more above the shoulders, do you feel a little more buoyancy through your front, through your chest? So forward, kind of allow for the chest to kind of sink. And then bringing your head back, can you feel how everything sort of falls into place, lighter and taller? All right. So let's maintain that as we find a balance here. Let's shift the weight into the right leg. Lift the left heel. Maybe the toes lift as well, finding your full balance. You can let the arms come out to the sides. We're going to rotate this knee to point out to the side as much as that hip lets you. Okay? And bring the foot anywhere on that inner leg. Toes can stay down with the heel on the inner ankle, or the whole foot can land onto the inner leg. Let's be here and just keep trying to feel the head floating straight up through the neck, long and tall above your shoulders. Can you keep all that space in the neck while the arms maybe lift a little higher? That's it. So now the crown of your head is light, along with your fingertips to the sky, while your tailbone and right leg are long and strong down towards the floor. Good. Feel one last breath right there. Bring the palms together. Let's bring them down through center and step it out. Okay, shake it out a little. Once again, find your mountain pose where your head is above those shoulders, where you feel a little more buoyant through the ribs. From the waist down, you can feel the roots of your tree, the trunk and the roots of your tree moving down a little more through that left leg while we lift the right heel. Maybe the right toes. Arms can come out wide to help you with some balance here. We'll turn the knee out as much as you can go with this hip to bring this foot onto the inner leg. All right. So again, you can just notice the length of your spine in the center, your head balanced over your shoulders, where you have all this space through the front of your throat, the back of the neck, and you're trying to maintain that space even as the arms lift higher. Nice. Feel the motions of your breath here. Maybe pushing down a little more through your left foot and feel yourself getting lighter and taller up through the rest of your spine. Great. On your next exhale, let's bring the hands down through center and step it out again. Okay, great. Let's come towards the front of the mat. And we're gonna move from chair pose back into sort of a warrior two, forward into a pyramid pose. All right. So let's start out with both arms lifted. So we're in this mountain shape. Notice where your head sits. And again, feel it light above the shoulders. Then as you keep the head in line with the shoulders, bring your hips a little bit back and down into chair pose. That's it. Draw those lower ribs in a little bit. Pull up a little more on the pubic bone. Beautiful. Can you keep the neck relaxed and long for one more breath? So let's stand into the right foot. We're going to step the left foot back, landing into this back heel. Okay, so your stance is up to you. Go to where you can feel grounded through your back heel, strong and long through that back leg while you have the front knee bent. Now let's bring the hands to the hips. Okay, so feel your head stay right above your shoulders as you pull your right hip back, coming forward over this front leg. Notice the tendency, because the head weighs quite a bit, the tendency is for the head to kind of fall forward. So can we actually find the movement in the neck where we're moving the head, gliding the head forward, gliding the head back? So can you actively find that movement just through the neck? The same movement we were doing when we were standing, when we were sitting. The head goes forward and the head comes back. So the ears go forward or down below your shoulders, and then your ears come back in line with your shoulders. And so can you keep the ears in line with your shoulders? Can you keep the head in line with the rest of the spine? And feel how that gives you maybe a little more length and space. You got it through your chest. Let's bring both arms out wide to the sides. Good. So try not to let your head fall forward of your shoulders, nor are you looking forward, shortening the back of the neck, right? Can you maintain length through all sides of the neck right here? Beautiful. Feel your breath. Good. Slowly start to bend that front knee. Lift back up into warrior one. Back leg strong. Spine light above the hips. Feel another breath right there. Good, and then we'll step it together, mountain pose. Rest the arms, feet under the hips, and just loosen up anywhere you need to. All right, we'll try it out on the other side. So starting again, finding your head. So we're doing this movement, gliding the head forward, gliding the head back when we're coming forward, okay? So first find where your head can be balanced over the shoulders again. Let's inhale and lift the arms, trying to maintain all that length through the neck, through the head. And then let's go into chair pose, bending the hips back and down. That's it. And feel the buoyancy of your ribs, the back ribs, just as much as your front ribs. Really nice. So now let's lift the right foot, standing on the left foot for a moment, finding a balance, and then stepping that right foot back into your warrior one, where both feet, both hips are still facing forward. Everything is still facing forward. Front knee bends. All right, great. Let's lower the hands to the hips. So here, we're basically trying to keep the spine in this neutral shape, drawing the ribs in, keeping the head in line with the rest of the spine while we pull this left hip back. Where the movement is coming from is right here through the hips. That's it. So as we go forward, notice the tendency to let your head fall forward. And in fact, go ahead and let that happen. What happens to the rest of your spine? And then can you bring your head up again or back in line with the shoulders, forward or down, up and back, and just find that movement. As long as it feels good in the neck, just take it nice and slow. Doesn't have to be a big range. That's it. And then can you keep the ears in line with the shoulders? That's it. Can you keep the head in line with the rest of the spine? You're not letting it hang down. You got it. And then take both arms wide. Good. Feel the arms lift maybe a tiny bit higher, finding more strength in the upper back, while still maintaining length through the waist, width and lift through the low ribs. You got it. Feel your breath right there. Strong pyramid pose. Good. Bend that front knee. Lift the spine. Lift the arms. Warrior one. Feel the head light floating right up above the shoulders. All that space through the neck. Really good. Nice. Step it forward. Back into mountain pose at the front of your mat. Let's take it down onto our bellies. We'll move through a sort of half sun salutation. So with your inhale, let's lift the arms. And on the exhale, let's come forward. So coming forward over the legs, a little bend through those knees. Let the arms and the head dangle freely. Good, and then bend the knees enough now to bring your hands to the ground. We're going to step this back into plank pose. So in plank, hands under the shoulders, legs either long and straight or knees on the floor. Either way, what you're wanting to avoid is the hips sinking down into this sort of banana shape. So see if you can pull up and in through the front of the body as your tailbone reaches back towards your knees and the crown of your head is reaching forward. So maybe not looking forward. So in fact, maybe try that. Lift your chin, look forward. Notice how that feels. And then can you bring more length into the back of the neck and look down without letting your head fall forward of your shoulders? Okay, that's it. Just being aware of where your head and neck is. All right, then lower the knees. And let's lower all the way onto the belly with as much control as you can. And rest. Let's just rest for a moment. You can make a pillow with your hands for your head if you like. And just find the front of your body as it softens here into the floor. So let's bring the hands to the ground beside the chest. So palms into the floor right beside sort of mid-ribs, something like that. And bring your forehead to the ground. And just imagine the ends of your spine. So your tailbone and the very top of your head, the crown of your head. And feel those ends moving away from each other. Imagine the crown of your head reaching forward, the tailbone reaching back. Now, can you keep your head looking at the ground, face looking to the floor, as you let the head hover very slightly away from the ground? Okay, so you're not looking forward, you're still looking down, but you're trying to bring your ears more in line with your shoulders. Lengthening through the back of the neck. That's it. And then maybe can you lift your chest higher? Your head hasn't changed position at all. Just the chest has lifted. Now find movement in the neck. Try to lift the chin, look forward, lower the chin, look down. Lift the chin, look forward, lower the chin, look down. Find where your head can be positioned where you feel maybe a little more space through the front of the throat without crunching into the back of the neck. So maybe the gaze is slightly forward, but not up. There you go. Find one more breath right there. Good, let it release again. Make a pillow with your hands. Feel free to turn your head. Relax everything here. Soften through the glutes, the neck and the shoulders for one more breath. So let's try one more movement in Cobra. Hands, once again, starting beside your chest. So press down into the tops of the feet. Feel your tailbone reach back through the legs. Feel the crown of your head reach forward, hover your face slightly off the floor. Then start to hug up and in through the belly, lift the chest, a tiny bit of weight into the hands, not a huge amount. And then start to turn your head, rotate to the right and rotate to the left. That's it. And then find where your head can be centered. And again, lengthening and lifting the head, maybe slightly, chin tiny bit higher without crunching the back of the neck. Really nice. All right, let it go again. Bring the hands to push into the floor to come back into child's pose now. So let's soften everything. Find a bit of space coming into the back. Rest your head on the ground or a block if the ground feels a little too far. Just try to notice the motions of the breath as they slow down here. Okay, and then coming up, let's come to sit again. And I'm going to suggest sitting up on a block or two. The firmer your prop, the better, so that you can feel your sitting bones into that support. So let's sit into sort of like this almost squat shape where you're just going to have your feet on the floor in front of your knees slightly. Okay, so you can start with your feet a little forward of the knees so that, you can just notice whether you're kind of rolled off of your sitting bones like this. You might actually try that for a moment and then try to roll right up on top of your sitting bones. That's it. So your shoulders more easily land above your hips rather than kind of forward of them or rounding the back. Rather than the ribs being behind your hips like this or pushed forward of the hips like this, you're trying to find where you can feel your sitting bones on that support under you and you're balanced with your head again. So do little nods of the head. You know, all those movements we just did, they're nice to come back to at any time. Little twists, little nods of the head, little tilts of the head, just to feel where your head is in space and bringing it above your shoulders again, feeling it light. So the more you push down into your feet and you rest into your hips, the more actual lift you might find through your spine here. So with that in mind, let's take the arms out to the sides. Relax into the shoulders, bend the elbows so the fingers land as close to the shoulders as they can. Try not to bring your shoulders up though. Keep them rested. Keep the head balanced, not forward, right above the shoulders. All right, then let's twist. Twist by leading the twist with the low ribs. Turning to the right first. The head will just follow. Okay, that's it. Come back through center. So imagine a spotlight right here at the center of your chest. You're turning it back to center. Your head follows, and then you twist to the left. Turning, chest, shoulders, head follows, looking left, back through center again. Let's go one more time in each direction. So notice whether you have the tendency to lead with your head and try to turn from further down your ribs. And then your head follows last, okay? So you're unwinding, facing forward. Feel your turn come through the waist, the ribs, the chest, and then the head follows. That's it. Last one coming back to center. Last one to the right. Let's take the left hand just to rest on that opposite leg. Turning to the right. Let the neck find length through both sides as it turns. And stretch this right arm out. That's it. Just feel your spine stay tall and light as you've twisted. No strain, no force at all. Really good. And then coming back to center, just find your head light and floating straight up from those shoulders. Twist again now to the left, turning your chest, your ribs. That's it. Left hand can land on that opposite knee, finding your head still right above your shoulders. It's not going forward. It's not tilted to the side as you're stretching this left arm out. Feel still. The weight in your feet. So rather than sitting and dumping all the weight sort of back into your back, find your feet. Push down through the feet, get lighter, taller within this twist. There you go. Really nice. All right, coming back to center. Whew, this is nice now to just let yourself come forward. So you're in almost like a child's pose kind of thing. You might walk your feet in a little closer if you like. Belly moves towards your thighs and just let your back find a nice gentle rounding stretch. That was a lot of work in the back as well to hold ourselves tall. But that's why we're sitting up on so much support, to make it a little more supportive. Feel a good slow breath into your back. All right, and then coming back up, to sitting tall. Okay, let's come off of the support. You may or may not want to stay up on one block or a little pillow, and let's just bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. And you can hold on to the shins or elbows, or sorry, ankles is what I mean. Shins or ankles. Move the shoulders back and down a little bit. Try to find your spine's length first. And then let's come forward with the belly leading the way. Not so much the chin or the head or the eyes, but the belly. String on your navel pulls you forward towards your feet. Noticing how far that goes. And then allow for a nice continuous arc through your spine. So we're letting it round. And when we're in these forward bends, we're trying not to let the head fall way forward of those shoulders. This is just going to emphasize that head forward position that we so often are in, that strains the back of the neck. So just be mindful of where your head is in relation to the rest of your spine. And can you find that lovely, continuous, even arc through your back? That's it, including the neck, including the base of the skull, finding a bit of space, but at nobody's expense. That's it. All right, and then once again, start to stack the spine until your head comes up last once again into sitting tall. Take the hands to those outer knees, guide them together, give the legs a stretch, shake them out. We didn't do a huge amount for the legs today, but this is why we come to class. Can't get it all in one class. All right. So let's rest. Let's find, once again, the ground supporting us. So noticing the gentle curves of your spine settling towards the ground and feeling the gentle curve through the back of the neck that's curved slightly away from the floor. Same with the back of the waist, the lumbar spine. And here too, you can find a little movement in the head, rolling the head side to side. Maybe lifting and lowering the chin a little bit just to get a sense of if your chin is higher than your forehead, what's happening is maybe a little bit of attention is coming into the base of the skull. So if you really try to let the head and the chin grow heavier, you're going to find more space into the back of the neck. That's it. All while maintaining space and softness through the front of the throat. So finding that balance. And feel where your shoulders land. Feel the length of your arms relaxed and heavy again out into the hands and fingers, softening them. Position your legs in a way that feels good for your hips and your lower back. Feeling free to even change the position of your pelvis. And then just settling your awareness here with your breath. Allowing the breath to flow freely and effortlessly, and yet still with attention and awareness. And feeling the sensations here within your body. Just opening up to your experience of conscious relaxation. So as you feel yourself continue to rest here, begin to deepen the breath. And once again, start to reawaken your body with gentle movements through the hands and feet, head and neck, maybe moving the jaw, stretching through the eyes. And we can go for another full body stretch if you'd like. And then once again, resting on your side with your knees bent. Making a pillow with your bottom arm if you want. And making your way up into any comfortable seated position. So that you can take a moment to just simply acknowledge your practice. Maybe bringing the palms together in front of your heart and bowing down to your practice today, giving thanks.